Despite the fact that they did have exposure at school, they never took it very seriously. Now they suddenly do. I mean, I was in the same situation myself, by the way, because when I was at high school in New Zealand, one of the languages that was offered was French. And I said, I'll never need French. How stupid, I'm not going to take French. 10 years later, I was getting ready to study in a French language university, and I had to work very hard to learn French. When I went to Quebec, Canada, I had to study French intensively for some time before I could really, be a student in that university. And eventually I ended up teaching one of my content subjects through French. In other contexts in Europe, for example, I think people realize that English is the working language of Europe. All their friends speak English, young teenagers, and in Europe, particularly Northern Europe, they graduate from high school with some reasonable fluency in English, just a normal expectation. And of course there, another issue is all of the television programs that they receive are shown in the language of origin, and they just have subtitles. They're not dubbed. So in other words, they're hearing English from a very early age through television with the translation provided, but they're not dubbed, whereas in Korea, most of the foreign programs are probably dubbed. So they're not actually hearing English. And I think that's another reason why European students are much more proficient, particularly in Northern Europe. In the Southern European countries, that's not the case. Spain, Italy, and so on, they tend to dub things. And so young people in those countries are not as fluent as the young people in Finland and Denmark and so on, and Holland, where things are not dubbed. Well, of course, movies tend to be very long, and that's one of the problems, that people's attention spans are not very long. So I think if video material is going to be used in the classroom, they have to be short, 2 or 3 minutes in length. And then you've got enough chance to process it, go back and look at it several times. A movie is 2 hours long, and it's, so that is very tiring and doesn't give you the same opportunities. But they need to be short clips that can be looked at in different ways.
Because speaking is a productive skill, so you need to practice. How you practice would depend on each individual's skills and their interest. What I did is that, first of all, the basic is that try to mimic somebody's speech. I watch a lot of soap opera. Why not a movie? The soap opera is more linked to daily life, more linked to the sentence just as a function. In the very sentence, you repeat the sentence, follow the tone and the fluency, the kind of thing, pronunciation. Try to mimic so that you will be able to correct your anxiety. Sometimes speak too fast, sometimes speak too slow, so that you could help you. And then once you pass the stage, then you would say, answer the questions. You could talk to, if it's people shy, you could talk to your puppy. You could talk to your, your friends. Any way that you could present your idea, present your thinking to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Not try to speak in your mind, your heart. No, it doesn't work. You have to speak it out. The most important is the confidence level. It is about confidence. Once you have the confidence, then you are there to speak. The more you speak, the better you are. Not try to memorize sample speech. This doesn't help you.
The key for many of the success stories that we have, and also it's a core of our methodology, is the intensity of the programs. You have to study intensively in order to progress. If you are studying 1 hour a week, there's no way for you to learn a language. You can study 1 hour a week for 1 year, and you spend all the money that you have for that, which is maybe a small monthly fee or whatever budget that you have. But at the end of 1 year, you really cannot use the language, because it's almost impossible to learn a language with 1 hour study. We have, which is top of the line for us, is called total immersion. Total immersion actually is a Berlitz word. It's registered to Berlitz. This was introduced in 1964. We had, at that time, we had a client that wanted to learn the language within a short period of time, because it was very critical for the job of the clients. I mean, I can maybe mention the name of the client. It was the FBI in the US. and they needed to learn the language within a short period of time. And so we started teaching them on a daily basis for 8 hours or 9 hours every day. And after we went through this and we conducted a certain study, after that it was proven that that's the most effective way of learning the language.